are they pretty much like 100% against? Because I think that I definitely don't want to be a quota on this. Because basically, when you see them move the quota, they pull and come out from the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act. They will put her inside the Public Elections Act. It shows that they're not interested in the empowerment of women. Yeah. Okay. So what we have ended up with is we have 30% of women who are pretty much 100% obedient to the men, and the few so-called, so I call them so-called women, they're not women anymore, who are in these political structures, who are the ones dictating and who control. These are just stooges. It is because of the 30% quota and the way they crafted it that you don't have any independent women. You have no way of going into parliament and lobbying and mobilizing women to deal with women's issues anymore. You don't even know that the only women MPs that are there now that I know are committed to women's issues, and I don't are the women who were there before. The Zainab Tarawalis, Zuri, there were the SFP money. From what I can see, I don't know a single one that is ready to stand up for women. Yes. Anything that their party tells them is what they do. Right. So I think for us in this struggle now for this constitutional amendment is that we need to say we don't actually want a quota. But the way we're standing now, we don't need a quota. We need to find a way. There's many different voices there, the independent voices of women, independent candidates have a real chance of going to parliament. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to make much progress. And then we have to, or you guys have to engage them. You can't leave them there because maybe they're prisoners of circumstance. And even the women ministers as well. So we have 6, is it, or one, that poster shows 6, right? 6, because our parliamentary system, because our executive system, the system whereby the president has all the power in the country. All the power is. That's why you have all these people who only want to be president, because as far as they're concerned, everybody else is powerless. So we need to really organize ourselves and address the issue. There's no point having 1/3 of the cabinet as women when 100% of the cabinet they watch the president for no reason, whether the president smiled and smile or the president make it face with themselves. So my thing is that this constitutional amendment, let's take the act, the public election, and we pull the quota. Then we pull the quota, whatever system we get, and we make sure we lower the threshold so that independent-minded women can go into any constituency and have a fair fight to be elected to parliament. Because the present quota only reinforces the power of the parties. And the political parties in our country, for these political parties, these 2 political parties, are a complete dead end. The very fact that I keep saying this, that they get mined after the Uman law campaign from 2008, right through to now. They don't write so much paper, they don't get so much recommendation. They get mined, they break an act for amend the constitution. We don't raise a single issue with the woman they don't fight for. Since 1991, because 3 days after the Constitution passed, or when it come into effect on the 1st of October, we make meeting, we say Section 27 for the, we must do something about it. We abandoned Section 27, we've been carried away by all this other things. Yeah, 30%. But it's actually disempowering us, because it's making us slaves of the many power.
We don't talk about people choosing their battles and running fast and not choose battles.
Exactly.
So, we're coming into a close, but as always, when we begin, we give this thing, just give me a feeling whereby, it's meant to bring a community together. We're not running on scripts. You make a situation, one person they talk to, and the person talk in a flow. Because this is a space where you're meant to flow. We're not meant to limit what you have to say. Because we all get something to say. However, we want to know what thing we do. These barriers are meant to ignite action. Tomorrow night is National Event. One time from now, by sweet talk, we talk here. On the 7th of March 2026, we talk some Wi-Fi talk there. On the 7th of March 2026, action common online. It's a little things, the community action. Most of the time, we don't get for wait for government. You don't tell when we wait for government. We forget to the power when we really want to know we get it. But how do we make use of this power that we have? Is it our voice? Is it our words? That the skill that we get for life change? So we're coming to the final part of the life because a man gets for good breakfast. What do you do?
Know your MP. Yeah, that's it. Just what they're doing, thinking about the
okay, so
action.
she knows.
You find out who is your MP, and then go and meet them.
You don't even know who the invite or the chairperson is.
So we just
are
the ones who are refusing and
to be known. Yeah.
So in that particular.
Well, but then you have to go and When I wrote to Krio, I wanted to talk to him. I started. I said, I think you're my MP, and that's why I'm talking to you now.
So
and the Citizens Barray posted something. How you can actually access things. So you want to that channel.
So yes, just as Madam Yasmin was saying, we can actually go in search of these people because we have the right to access this information. It's public information. They're working for us. So our members of parliament, they're there to represent us, to represent our needs. So therefore, we can be able to write to parliament to ask them about our MP's contact. And presently, as Citizens Barray, we've made sure to involve every district in Sierra Leone. We've written to parliament to have a list of the contact for members of parliament. And right now, we're counting down to the final day that they should respond to us, because when you write to a public office for information, you have about 15 days for them to respond to you, and if they do not, then you can take it to the Right to Access Information Commission. So from there on, they would work on you getting the information you want or writing back to Parliament. So presently, that's what we are on. We have written as, and everybody here is free to write their own letters to Parliament, or you can call Parliament. You can write to the information officer to actually get details about your MP's contact or any other thing that you want that relates to that particular office or any other public office. So go in search. You don't have to wait for government, like Blessing said. If an MP is being placed in your community or in your constituency, make sure you find out who that person is. If that person does not present themselves to you, ask them what they're doing, tell them what you want to be done. So yes.
On your question about actions, before I come to that, I have a question because shamefully this is the first time I'm being hacked. So there was a time when the bill was first introduced to us. The government, no, not the constitutional amendment bill. They asked for position papers. So I want to know if Citizens Barray published, did we any position paper was sent to Parliament from Citizens Barray?
Thank you for the question.
Yes,
So we
citizen views and position that we get at for inform any position when we put out, right? So they do a position paper. When we get a position paper on the full bill, we also start a position paper specifically on gender equality and women's empowerment issues, or the impact of the constitutional amendment bill on Uman. So apart from all the other issues, we specifically pull down the out. We start a position paper. We also will be informed by this conversation, because Parliament not give a deadline for when for submit position paper. Then we don't already transmit, something to them, right? Because we don't want for Miss Danny. Danny informed by different views that we get from, from citizens around the country, or different processes that we will be part of. But each one of them conversation, they tweak. Yes, they mold that position, right? So out of this, now we go see how, maybe if anything they change from down there, where we submit to Parliament. And then also we put out a simple version to the public, for let all man see. We don't get no response. We ask for acknowledgement of receipts of the position paper where we submit by email address for submit position paper. Then we don't get no confirmation. We follow up for ask. Parliament state today no even acknowledge receipts. So I don't know if now we know more.
Yeah, that's how it is.
But if we ask for position paper, then we give email address, then at least if people submit, even though we at the same time citizens then they call for let Parliament tell them how apart from email, where most people in the country not even access, or even civil society organizations, now really an elite process down here, right? So how citizens are really able to engage with this process? So even though we don't put their views and to Parliament, we still utilize the process where they give. But at least if we acknowledge, say, okay, we don't receive this. But when we modify based on this, now we submit back, and we go see if they go acknowledge receipts.
I think everybody should really and truly, all of you, these active, wide awake feminists, when I go to Parliament, don't ask for talk to the clerk. Individually ask the clerk, say, this is my address. Now, yeah, are the artists, this and the consul. I don't know, we didn't even vote by constituency, right?
This way. So not one MP you get. You get more than one MP.
So I think in 2002, when it was a district list, I know that what happened after the election, because my husband was one of the MPs that was elected, all the MPs for that district came together and they allocated themselves so that there was no constituency that didn't have an MP, right? You didn't have this thing where you can avoid the responsibility by saying no to me. I remember there was one of the women, I've forgotten her name, in Kenema district. She went once to the place that she got given, her constituency. It's very remote. It was part of my late father's constituency. And she came and then she came to me and said, you are saying go tell the client, mother say, me are not ever good again. At least I don't come with we are no mixed from this kind of politics. And by the next election, she had moved back to her own constituency of choice as well. But I think that it is only when they see the reality, you go to Parliament, the MPs themselves listen, and they can't ask for them to be MP, because you cannot be represented by 12 MPs. this man is, you have to be represented by one person. And basically what they've done with this district level that they have come with, this one, or multiple, blah, 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 is you fall between all the stools, right? Where you have all APC or all SLPP. The people there have more rights than the people in the mix. I'm gonna go tell nobody now, Kedema now saying, you get 10 or 11 MPs. They don't shoot themselves. Everybody, because they won all the seats, and each of them was there representing one of the constituencies. So they are okay. So those of us who are in Freetown, we have the right to the same representation. And so therefore we can't allow anybody, we don't allow anybody for telling me say, oh, they're all an MP. I can never take that. Tawana mi MP, Nino Noda Bakna mi MP. I don't even know how to Timbona mi MP. No, I want one MP that affects me. One woman, one man.
So I think this is the sharpest way they can do it. 1 minute, 1 hour, 30 seconds. Just in one sentence, we for you. What you need for you? One person don't say we need, we ask me say we need for no MP, and before they come out here, we will show Uman the post what we make on how for, know you MP in your community. Uman will go on that site, then we get resources available on the website, and then, yeah, so 1 minute, 30 seconds, and we're gonna sharp people then.
Let's watch it before the 1 minute, excuse me. So this is something I wanted to say before we leave here. I feel like one thing we don't think affects me is we know generally the country, we don't really think ahead. Don't sit during her presentation or sorry her submission talk say now so I don't know which side to how they deal with transgender and stuff. It took more than 20 years for making kind of amend the constitution now. So by the time, hopefully, they put some of the things the way they protect women's rights, it's going to take maybe another 5 or 10 years again. So when they submit the things that we want to protect the rights of women, let us not only think about the things that are affecting us right now in Sierra Leone, in Africa. No, we think like 10 years ahead. The world is changing. Very, very soon, whatever is happening in the West is eventually going to start happening here. So in as much as for me become a priority to think about the rights now that we're really fighting for. And just that means also think 5 or 10 years ahead. So we're not gonna wait after we have the new constitution, their rights really affect you, and then we have to fight 10 years again for it to be included in the constitution. So that's all.
So that's what I think we're going to do. Think ahead.
Yes, exactly. Let's think ahead.
Any other person? Alice. What you think for?
Okay. For me, I feel like we've been doing good, to be honest. And then one thing we need to do is like just be preaching more, because for instance here, even if you go tell person we're not they part of maybe this conversation, or we're not they follow up with the whole feminism or fighting for women and girls here, you go tell and say 30% wouldn't call they. It will ask you say what in that they mean. So I feel like we just need for them to do the teaching more and educating women and girls, or maybe other men that we also believe in the same thing where we always there so they fight for. So it's more about teaching and telling. So no matter, because for instance, if you tell person, okay, you need for no MP, you go say what's that for no for? You know, no say like Danny nine right to, but you go ask you that person, they say what's that for no MP for? So you see, we just need to do more of the advocacy work and then more of teaching and then be selfless.
Nice.
What should we do?
I think she wants to say something.
We need for engage in more consultation so that the amendment constitution forgets a feminist face, wherein we galvanize as women and see how we will do more consultation with other women in the community so that we will able to get there.
Next one. Okay.
Well, me
me, I think say most of the reason why most of the local living is not as impactful on home or get money. I think say you cannot go teach people all of that. You not get money for Gideon, you not get money for support the big plan that we give for them. So I feel like a lot of what we do is probably we not get money from directly fund, not for connect ourselves with opportunities that do. And when we focus, we reaching out and advocacy for it go beyond just explaining. If you hold project seminar for teach people the what meant their pads, buy pads and give them at the end of the event. If you hold seminar for teach them, say, oh, as soon as you for learn book, you for waiting. At the end of the event, at least get some kind of free educational sessions or sponsor one or two people at that event. We really want to talk and talk and talk. Women have spoken before us. Now we put we money and the efforts beside we put we want.
Yeah, put your mouth.
I mean, if Dande could be we last waiting we for do, I just want to give an example. So most of the time, the change that what we get for make, if we say yes, money is important, but some change they get for go beyond finances. Some change and they get for come out from communities. I'll give God each for instance. We first barrier we all was on the drug abuse. We get some people that now where they take drugs, so people that say no go Kenya. We created a space. The barrier embraced them. They were able to come. And then they came, had a conversation, they came talk, they go back to the community. These are the community when we come up from. I know say you go meet 10 youth man and they first one ask you, what you get from? What you bring come from? But I think as activists and as feminists, we have to rethink our approaches, especially when we go to communities. Community people always need something. They always want something from you. But how can you teach them and let them know that what they need, they already have it existing in their communities? They just have to think in a certain way. The God-rich people, for instance, they talk to they want to bow, they want this, they want that. I said, me, I don't get that money though. But we're able for you think. And then we created a scenario. You know what you said, there's same youth man there, so begin suggest idea how for raise funds. They want to bob a job. They want to clean people they host them. They want their community to us fund. They want the community open back account. People understand them, they think as an NGO number going to give them this money. But they realize the power they have on their own. So at some point, if the skills where we don't learn, if Nancy don't learn financial stability or financial literacy, let's teach people in their community. They're safe table for get them. Let us like the people that is no more, you know go if you able to take me like you can't go, you know because you don't know the creator for dollar. How do you learn to teach people to actually maintenance a bakery from community? So even I mean finances, the problem they for the like how they say the one they move now, donations and cut off. So for say fund not they change not go day, that is how we have to think as feminists, as activists. For say funds not their own business that will go before. I mean, but when we go back, these activists when we talk about not so money, no money, their voice there, their courage, waiting and get from for support to community. God is the testimony based on the barrier. Then now they move forward as a community. Then now they find way for generate funds. So they are thinking beyond what they want people to provide. They are providing for themselves. They are finding ways to navigate their lives. Not looking at funds, finances, and everything. Or not, I mean, for Allah talking about, don't forget the fund back necessary. So we can still able to generate that funding from the community. Thank you very much.
My own submission would be, we already also get one or two more degree, and most of the different communities and as well institutions already, Madam Yasmin was doing the parliamentary and so generally I see on providing on the community, you might be in time, but still I can be if you don't get time, you can. So what I'm trying to say is most of the information and the learning the whole can get my status like this. Let me take and play and go down my community. For example, you know the rights them, you know the different rights them, all the different places and way the community people can access. Let me go and show them, let me go and tell them so like we can start like as an ambassador disseminate the information to them. Let them know about the children one action we can take. Where they are
powerful too, whether we like it or not, is the internet. You will be surprised, almost marketing manager we don't almost do. But they tell you anything about that. So I feel one thing we need for this, maybe at least once in a month or once in 2 to 3 months, engage some of them. Because it's unfortunate that most of the women already clear that TikTok focus on other things that are really beneficial. Yes, beneficial. That's what I'm looking for. If we can get these people, engage them directly, at least once a month or once in 2 months, then tell women in our engagement to talk about women's rights. Because I tell you, as Mr. Lino was saying, most of the women, especially in American, they don't know about their rights there. They don't know about it. And but in as much as they don't know about it, some of them they TikTok, you know, waiting they happen between, I don't forget the name there. So you can get maybe a buy-in with them too. Tell them, say this, help take out this message, help take out, orientate them. I think that would really go a long way.
Thank you. Amazing.
Maybe, building on what you say, so like the barrier will come from here, we didn't get the barrier so now different community.
Oh yeah. So the inside the Barray, now like different communities and on national business, yeah. And then the last Saturday inside every month na community Barray. So from this Barray, if you want for care, we go na your community for Barray. We dey go there. We dey go get the Barray na your community as well. So if you think you want us to host a Barray in your community, then you can host a Barray.
Someone just take somebody who is listening just explain what's happening. And they're creating, I would say, some of the guys, especially the woman who violence. Like somebody who's with man of me, don't let me. It's killing. So silentness is common. So they didn't say the ball need for 4 hours. And get many for things like after 3 2 months. Clear. One, I need for know themselves, I need for know their rights, and really need for just know what's the capable for you. Like way when we say just for them must stand for a good speaking. Really take this strong man. So now it's about 1 2. That man will do anything for. Let's say people before you. You don't know see what people before you, they inside you just need one step. Just need that minute. So I should really give money for them.
Thank you so much, everyone. So after I'll be adding senior ally.
I think we actually get a lot from it, especially with regards to communicating the rights, as you mentioned. We get beautiful laws. Although they have to get beautiful laws, we get customary law. We get lots of additions, especially regarding the ownership and inheritance of land, as well as in my area as well. So the problem now is people not really aware of this law. You go to the communities, they don't just move with the court, say, now as a woman, I don't get rights to acquire property because at the end of the day, I never could marry. But that's not the reality. So one thing we make you always communicate, it's in area especially with regards to marriage, that some man can feel entitled because we are responsible of marriage, and at the end of the day, our backs. If you say because now your money used for buying the land and videos, then the woman not get any contribution at all, which is actually not the reality. If it starts for check the woman contribution at the homes, let's start with taking care of the children at home. Imagine if you pay as cooking for you, imagine if you pay as a cook. And lot of other things as well. I think women get a bigger role. They can play a bigger role in the houses. But we don't really recognize them when we say, but feel say, if you are not married, someone like you for do naturally. Forgetting that that contribution you can pay for, even double the money we use for buy that land and the money we use for build that house. So I feel like if we are able to explain the scenarios there to human and the community, we really help for them know waiting and capable of doing it. That in as much as we advocate for more laws, the one that we already did, let's communicate them, let's have people really understand them, and then I feel like we will continue to
Right.
just one for maybe.
Let me see if we done work.
Yes, we did that record in the record.
Okay.
That part of waiting we get from we will get certain privilege and like what we don't talk about discrimination and how some of the discrimination they come from you. That we not need for good teach women there, but certain things the way they already know. We get for the learning are 2 ways, right? So many things then they happen. Now communities, so many things that rules and they or the way how people and they interact, where already they give you lesson them for how woman they able to teach we boku thing. Maybe the in all rights like any side like law, but we they able to learn. We don't get rules in our community there from time immemorial. Even when a Sierra Leone, part of the special court, we did do outreach and the special court for Sierra Leone. We did go and talk to people about international humanitarian law. Also, we did start with that conversation. Not to teach them waiting day and the treaties and whatnot, but also who they will we get today that we own communities there for how you affect between communities. We became we own law there. And then same rules and they, many of them they part of international humanitarian law. If possible, for go, all them thing and they, right? So let we also not feel say we they can bring enlightenment. Let we always go with the mindset that we they learn that conversation like how we did conversation. We they learn from ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And now so we the able to.
Alright. Well, thank you to Uman inside the Barray for where we all come inside today, and I believe say one way or the other we don't learn a lot, and we don't unpack and we don't pack back. But either we will do something. And I mean, thanks to everyone for coming here. And with your consent, I will be creating a virtual barrier so that when the position paper will come out, or you have views on, tomorrow is National Women's Day, what you therefore you go around for the spread the message and all of that. So with your consent, I'll be having everyone here.